Alhamdulillah, salatu wassalam wa rasulillah. Today, we're continuing our concise presentation Fiqh series. It's episode 59, marriage part 8. We are Jumaadaa Al-Uulaa, 1445 after the Hijrah, 29th of November 2023. Those of you who are following us in the book, we are on page 401, the rights of the spouses.
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wassalamu ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa muwala. We're going to be having the Dr. Asif Shah reading a lot for tonight because it's all of it to do with the rights of both husband onto the wife and the wife onto the husband. So start please with the rights.
The family is the first building block of the society. If it's in a good state, the society as a whole will be in a good state. If it's in a rotten state, the society as a whole will be in a rotten state. For this reason, Islam has paid a great deal of attention. The makeup of the family has made requirements in it that produce soundness and happiness. Islam considers the family to be a structure that is built upon the union of two people. The most responsible person is the husband. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said,
الرجال قوامون على النساء بما فضل الله بعضهم على بعض وبما أنفقوا من أموالهم فالصالحات قانتات للغيب بما حفظ الله. نعم.
Surah Nisa verse 34, men are the protectors and maintainers of women because Allah has made one of them to excel the other and because they spend to support them from their means. Therefore the righteous women are devoutly obedient to Allah and to their husbands.
Right.
And guard in the husband's absence what Allah orders them to guard.
As the author had said, and rightly so, that the foundation of any society is the usrah, the family. And the family, if it's destroyed, then the society will be destroyed. And if you look at any society where the enemies want to destroy them, they will aim and target the families. Anything that would split the families, anything that will make the family not to be on a correct basis, you'll find that this society will demolish. So if you look at carefully at how these people had ruined Islam, is actually to aim all the laws to target the family, whether it's marriage laws, whether it's divorce laws, whether it's the rights of the women, whether it's the right of the husband. So they will aim to destroy the family, whether they know about it deliberately or they don't know about it. Once the person takes other than the laws of Allah Azza wa Jal, he bound to destroy the family. So Allah Azza wa Jal had made for us as a husband and a wife, which is the foundation, as I said, of the society. No way you're going to have a society would grow except if you have this normal relationship, because you cannot produce children. This process of reproduction cannot take place unless you have a male and a female. No way two males are going to get children. No way two females are going to get children. No way and any other two species going to get children unless it's a male and a female. That's natural. That's how you're going to have this process, and the cycle of reproduction is existing. Otherwise, slowly we will finish. But let's now go to, and by the way, there are so many rights here that we're going to be talking about, but we have to be careful as well. Because some people are fishing in the dirty water and they just want to pick up on this, look at Islam, what it's saying. So we'll try to explain it in the better way, inshallah. Now,
Islam has given each spouse rights upon their partners. By fulfilling these rights, the structure will become secure and will continue. Islam has exalted each of the partners to fulfill their responsibilities. It also encourages one to overlook temporary shortcomings that may occur in receiving one's rights.
Right. So the author starts now with
the rights of the woman upon the husband.
I don't know why he did do that. Why did he put the right of the woman of the husband? You see, usually the rights of the husband comes first. I think it's to do with a number of issues. Pressure to show us that we are not against the woman, and we are not. Or it could be to prove to somebody else that we are not against a feminist or whatever. I mean, usually Allah Azza wa Jalla, He starts with the male, then the female follows. But no harm for us to say, not to the extent of other than the Islam puts it in this way. Like, for example, when they start, the people who start, for example, their speech, they would say, ladies and gentlemen. True or not? They don't say gentlemen and ladies. It doesn't even sound right now with the momentary. Can I just ask you to forward and pull up the Jazakallah khair. So it doesn't sound for you right. Gentlemen and ladies. You know why we haven't got used to it? Ladies and gentlemen. Because you kept saying it, you brainwashed it yourself. Okay, started with the ladies. We have nothing wrong with this. But the society who had done this, they feel that they have done so much injustice towards the female, they're trying to substitute that. Do you understand that? What Islam did not. Islam came to a society where the woman for them is nothing. Actually, they kill her and they bury her before she is to be reaching her adulthood. They bury her alive. So Islam came to honor the woman. But the societies who did not revolve around the religion, they have dumped the women. Okay, even some of the religion we've been manipulated, they've been dumped the women. You know that, for example, in Judaism, a woman, when she's on her menses, she's not allowed to eat with the rest of the family. So she's treated like a shaitan, beast. Yeah, she's treated like a shaitan. She's at the moment, because she's got the cycle, that she is not human anymore. That's why she's not allowed to eat with the rest of the families. If you didn't know that, Islam came, no. And that's why when the Prophet of Allah, when in Medina, he did all of this, the Jews, what they said, this guy is not living nothing in our religion except he says the other way. We say, keep her away, he says, keep her inside. Because Islam is based upon religion, and religion goes with the logic. Women, how can we just put her aside? So those people want to, as I said, to fill the gap of that they have done themselves between them and the women. The women for them was nothing before. No, nothing. They want to fulfill it, so they are done it, they overdone it. You understand me? Because they feel the guilt, but they have overdone it, not in the correct way. To the extent that the women has more right than the men, that we had this Batman, if you remember, had climbed on top of the parliament asking for the father's right. You remember that? Yeah, asking for the father's right. Because there's no father's right. It's all his mothers. And the laws had to change for that. Because they've given so much, the father has been deprived. Now, we have a bit of justice between the father and the mother through the courts. Now,
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran,
yes, ومن آياته أن خلق لكم من أنفسكم أزواجا لتسكنوا إليها وجعل بينكم مودة ورحمة.
And among his signs is this, that he created for you wives from amongst yourselves, that you may find repose in them, and he has put between you affection and mercy. Surah 30, verse 21. The kind of affection and mercy that is found among spouses can't be found amongst any other two.
Yes, even between the father and the mother, even between the father and the daughter, even between the husband and the wife. Sorry, between the mother and her child. The husband and the wife, they have a different relationship. So, for example, the husband loves his wife in a different way he loves his mother. The wife gives him the two things that his mother can give him, which is the passion, the love that he is too close to her, he love, and also on top of that, to satisfy his lust. The mother can give him only one, can't give him the other one. Okay, so the wife is a very special relationship. You can't find it in any other relationship. Fadl.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created Allah has created for the spouses a continual form of affection and mercy. Thus the law has laid down rights that when adhered to further protects that affection and mercy from coming to an end or being lost.
Allah says, وَلَهُنَّ مِثْلُ الَّذِي عَلَيْهِنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ.
And they, women, have rights similar to those of their husbands over them according to what is customary and good. Surah Baqarah verse 2-8. This very concise passage has gathered together wealth that would take great journeys to amass.
Meaning that this small statement, وَلَهُنَّ مِثْلُ الَّذِي عَلَيْهِنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ, and for the women, they have the similar as for the men in ma'ruf, justice. It needs a lot of volumes to explain the rights in this, just that phrase. So it's
a general principle that states that women are equal to men in all of their rights, except for one matter that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has expressed in the same verse by saying,
وَلِلرِّجَالِ عَلَيْهِنَّ دَرَجَةٌ.
But men have a degree of responsibility over them. In order to understand what rights they have and what rights are upon them, what is good and customary in their relationships, and behavior with one another in the family has been referred to. What is good and customary among a people is that which is consistent with their laws, beliefs, manners, and customs. This sentence has given man a balance by which he can weigh his actions with his wife concerning all types of matters and affairs. If he thinks about demanding something from her, he should recall that in parallel to something similar is obligatory. Thus, Ibn Abbas radiallahu anhu said, I beautify myself for my wife as she beautifies herself for me.
SubhanAllah. If you ask your wife to beautify herself for yourself, well, you yourself as well should beautify yourself for her. So just like we're asking her something, you should, same thing is upon you, because equal rights. Same thing, I'm asking my wife to cook for me and do things in the kitchen, then should be some similar things as well upon you, which is to go outside and get, you are the breadwinner. You're not just you're making your wife, on top of her work, she's working, and on top of it as well, what? She's cooking. Now, well, you have to cook as well. If you both of you working. So she's in the kitchen and you are in the work. But she is at work and in the kitchen, and you are never been in the kitchen. That's not right. Has to be balanced. Unless she accepts, but usually it's the case, the husband has to help. So whatever you ask from her, you ask for yourself as well. Now,
the true Muslim recognizes the rights of his wife upon him. Again, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says,
وَلَهُنَّ مِثْلُ الَّذِي عَلَيْهِنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ. Same verse.
And they, women, have rights similar to those of their husbands over them according to what is customary and good. The Prophet ﷺ has also said, truly you have rights upon your wives, and your wives have rights upon you. The aware Muslim always tries to fulfill the rights of his spouse upon him without considering whether his own rights are fulfilled, as he is desirous of preserving the feeling of affection and mercy between them. Furthermore,
so he's basically always, if you want to have this passion and this intimacy and this love between you, you should really overlook some time of your rights that hasn't been served like your service. So you're looking to serve the rights of the other partner rather than to say, you haven't fulfilled this of mine. So look at the other partner to give him his rights, and then Allah Azza wa Jalla will provide you with your rights. Now,
furthermore, he is also very desirous of defeating Shaitan's opportunity of bringing enmity and disputes between them.
Shaitan's number one goal is to split between the husband and wife. Yes, of course, the highest target is to make the person as a kafir. And the highest of all targets is to what? Anybody? So if I tell you that the highest of all targets is not to make the person mushrik, according to Iblis, the highest of all targets is not even to split between the husband and the wife. There's a hadith where the shaitan, he puts his throne onto the water, imitating the Almighty Azza wa Jalla. And he will send his soldiers, and each one will do something, and they come with a report at the night. One of them said, I did this and this. Well, he's about to go back, rectify. I did split between husband and wife. He's about to go back to her. I have made him a mushrik. He's about to embrace Islam again. But the one that you cannot reverse the time, what is that? He said, I made him to kill his brother, to kill a believer. He said, you are the one. Steps down and he makes him to go and sit on the chair of the crown. He gives him the crown. You are the one. You are the soldier. Because even if you regret, it's too late. The guy cannot go back. So the person who commits shirk, he might embrace Islam again with some words. But that person, even if he had regret, you cannot bring that person to life back again. In terms of sin-wise, shirk is more. But according to the shaitan, because you know that shirk, one other person come and just put Islam back into him and he will come back to Islam. But this person, even if he regrets, one believer is down. One believer is down. Right. So shaitan is keen to put enmity between husband and wife. Right.
Since the religion is sincere advice, I, as in the author is speaking, I shall mention the rights of the woman upon the man now, and follow that with the rights of the man upon the woman. Perhaps the spouses will take the admonition and exhort one another to truth and exhort one another to patience.
So the author's aim is actually to tell the husband, whom you always think that there are only your rights and your rights. No. First, I'm going to mention the rights of the women. before I give you your rights. Right? So the women which is being forgotten. Okay, that's so number one. Does it say number one there? Yes.
The first, truly you have rights upon your wives, and your wives have rights upon you. The first of those rights is that the man must treat his wife in a good and proper manner
وَعَاشِرُوهُنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ
and live with them honorably. This is mentioned in Surah Nisa, verse 19. This is done by providing food for them when the person takes food himself, and by providing clothing for them when the person provides.
Okay, so you eat and you feed your wife the same food. It's not correct to eat the kebab and leave her the dal. Do you understand me, the dal lentil? It's not correct. Kebab, kebab. This is just you and your friends enjoy yourselves, and here she's left with nothing. Right? So you have to treat the same thing with the clothes. Clothe yourself good grade A clothes, and you give her grade C clothes. It's not correct. Fine.
This also includes disciplining her in a proper way as ordered by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala if one fears.
Okay, so discipline her is her right as well. Look, you think about it, discipline her. I'm going to discipline her. Yes, this is her right onto you to discipline her if she did not do or she did something which is disobedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And that how?
Firstly, one should offer kind and beautiful admonition and words free of abusing, free of cursing and insulting.
So no cursing, give her advice. May Allah curse you and give her advice. How can she listen? Number two,
if the wife obeys, the matter comes to an end. If he doesn't obey, then he should separate from her in their bed.
Separate from the bed, that means on the bed, you don't intercourse with her. This is always the weapon the women that use, which is called sexual harassment on her husband. You take that weapon away from her, she will be, she will be the one that she's trying to ask for you. Now, number three.
Again, if she obeys, the matter comes to an end. If she remains recalcitrant, her is to beat her a light, non-bruising beating, being careful to avoid the face.
The beating here, I don't like the word. I like to stick to discipline. Because that's why I said to people, look, beating as well. They beat the wives. What beat? You don't mean. So if you do like this beat and you do, it's beating. But what comes to the mind of those people? We're beating our wives, you put and punch her, punching bag, and no, it's not correct. So basically, that I had advised, my words, I have done the bed separation, which she still doesn't understand. So what I'm doing here is more of a spiritual, punishment rather than a physical. I'm doing like this. Okay, meaning that you have maybe to resort to something which I should not resort to. It has to be the communication, but you are going lower than the communication. So the only thing is to wake up coffee. Sorry, just
carry on.
Yeah, avoiding the face. You're not allowed to strike the face, and you're not allowed to leave a bruise, nor to break bones or anything like this. This is basic. And as soon as you did this, believe me, the wife, she doesn't care whether it is light or not light. Why did you beat me? She will say to you. This is common. Why did you beat me? Of course, you have knocked her teeth out. So you got to go to police. That's not right. That's not correct. But even in that light, why did you beat me? Because I haven't admonished you, advised you. I have detached myself from the bed, and I told you not to do this, not to shave your eyebrows, for example. You're not still doing it. Then I have to remind you that this is what the way. I don't want to go to the last resort, which is what? Divorce. We don't want to divorce because of this. I want you to be understanding that what I'm asking you is what Allah commanded me to do. Tell her, this is your right upon me to do this. Your right, and show her the book. Your right to discipline you like this way. Your right. It's not my obligation. No. Your right upon me to do this to you. Oh, is it my right? Yes, it is your right. Father.
This is based on the ayah.
واللاتي تخافون نشوزهن فعظوهن واهجروهن في المضاجع واضربوهن فإن أطعنكم فلا تبغوا عليهن سبيلا إن الله كان عليا كبيرا.
As to those women on whose part you see ill conduct, admonish them first. Next, refuse to share their bed, and last, beat them lightly if it is useful. But if they return to obedience, seek not against them means of annoyance. Surely Allah is ever most high, most great.
So in this verse, Allah it mentioned the three things that we have said. وَاللَّاتِي تَخَافُونَ نُشُوزَهُنْ فَعِظُوهُنْ. That's number one. فَعِظُوهُنْ means advise them. وَهْجُرُوهُنْ didn't work, detach yourself on the bed. فِي الْمَضَاجِعِ وَاضْرِبُوهُنْ and then after that, discipline them, which has been translated as beat them. Now,
the Prophet ﷺ was asked, what's the right of the wife upon us? He replied, it is that when you eat, you feed her. When you get clothing for yourself, you get clothing for her. Do not strike the face, do not swear at her, and do not boycott her except in the house. A manifestation of the perfection of Iman and the growth of one's faith is that the man is very, very kind with his wife. The Prophet ﷺ said, the believers with the most complete faith are the ones with the best behavior, and the best of you is the one who treats his wife with the best manners. Honoring the wife is an indication of a full and wholesome personality.
let's just go to Aisha straight away, down just about 2 lines. Aisha, radiallahu anha. She was.
The Prophet was very kind with Aisha, radiallahu anha, and even raced her. Aisha said, raced with me and I beat him. After I put on weight, we raced again and he beat me. He said, this was for that one.
So the Prophet is telling him, this is for that one you have won at the beginning, because at the beginning, Aisha, she was light. Once she gets married, she puts weight on. So he had raced her again and he won. He said, you see, I won this time. This is for that one because I was defeated I lost the last time. Now,
the Prophet reckoned amusements to be worthless, except that done with one's wife. The Prophet said, everything by which humans amuse themselves is worthless except for 3 things.
Batil, worthless. No reward in it.
Practicing archery, training one's horse.
These are the ones which are rewarded.
And sporting with one's wife.
Huh?
These are just sporting.
Yeah, and cuddling, sporting. It's not sporting to do sport and just cuddling your wife, anything, even to race her, but not just as a sport. It's cuddling the wife. فَإِنَّهُنَّ مِنَ الْحَقِّ, what they are from the truth. Right, we'll stop here. Can I just ask you to do that then? Yes? Alhamdulillah. Okay, that has been done. Let's do number 2 quickly.
It is the right of the wife upon the husband that he be patient with any harm she does and overlook any of her mistakes. The Prophet ﷺ has said, a believing man should never hate a believing woman.
And vice versa.
If he dislikes one of her characteristics, he'll be pleased with another of her characteristics.
So that means even a believing female should not hate and dislike her husband, male believer, completely. If you didn't like something of your husband, you like the other as well. Same thing.
The Prophet ﷺ also said, I advise you to treat women well, for they have certainly been created from the upper part of the rib, and the most crooked part of the rib is the upper part. If you then try to make it straight, you will break it off. If you leave it, it will remain crooked. So I advise you to treat women well. So
imagine the man is now like this, straight. And the woman, if she was created from the rib, the highest one, you've got the ribs here. The highest one is the one which is the shortest, and it's the most crooked, bent. So if I want to live with my wife, so you are a male like this, and she is like that. Okay. So the Prophet ﷺ, he said, if you want to straighten this, like this, you're going to break it. And break it, you may want divorce. You can't straighten the woman. She's born from this. So I'm going to live with her. How can I live with her? If I can't do this, what should I do now? Because there's a distance. I'll bend myself. Okay? I have to bend. I have sometimes to overlook some of the things that the women, they say, which for the man, they think it is naive. You understand? So I don't live, I have to do it. Because I can't pull her this way. You divorce. So you bend, overlook things. Prophet ﷺ, he lived with his wife, and he is the Prophet. Wives, they used to boycott him from the nights. Yes, wives of the Prophet used to boycott him and leave him. The Messenger of Allah used to be patient. Sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When Umar Khattab went to his daughter Hafsa and asking her, Do you boycott your Prophet ﷺ? He said, yes, night and 2 nights. He said, you are at this, you're going to be a loser. Imagine Allah Azza wa Jalla is going to be now having the anger upon you. What are you going to do? So he told her off. How can you be like this with the Prophet ﷺ? He said, we nahjuruhu bil-layla wa laylatayn. We would detach ourselves from him night and 2 nights. SubhanAllah. And he's the Prophet ﷺ, by which we'll continue after the Salah. Everybody left. Okay, go ahead.
Number 4, it's the right of the wife upon the husband that he teaches her what she needs to know of her religion, or that he permits her to attend the sessions of learning that need to improve her religion and purify her soul. It is no different than her need for food and drink. Both of these types offer to her. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said,
يا أيها الذين آمنوا قوا أنفسكم وأهليكم نارا وقودها الناس والحجارة.
O you who believe, ward off from yourselves and your families a fire of hell whose fuel is men and stones. The wife is a member of one's family. Protecting her from the hellfire is by faith and righteous deeds. However, righteous deeds require knowledge and understanding to ensure that they are performed and practiced in the manner prescribed by the Sharia.
Okay, so just number 3 for those who just joined online. I'm sorry that some people had left. They thought the class is finished. That is, we said that the rights of the wife over her husband is that to make sure that he does not let her to sin against Allah Azza wa Jal, preventing her from going outside without a hijab, because you are a responsible person. And number 5 here, from the rights of the wife over her man is
that the husband orders her to abide by the religion of Allah. And
that means to fast and to make zakah and to give the zakah if she's rich, and to make the hajj if she is rich, and also to make the salah. All of that. وَأْمُرْ أَهْلَكَ بِالصَّلَاةِ وَاصْطَبِرْ عَلَيْهَا.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, and enjoin the prayer on your family and be patient in offering them.
Also, number 6 from the rights of the wife over the husband is
the right of the wife upon the husband that he permits her to leave the house whenever there's a need to do so, such as to attend the congregational prayers.
if she wants to come to the masjid and attend the congregational prayer, I should let her. But if he did not let her, she should not really use the stick to come out, because he would, create problem later on. He might divorce her because of this. So he did not let her to come to the Jama'ah, the prayer. She should approach him in the right manner. Maybe he was not correct in the mood at that time. I would not really urge to say to him, well, I've got the stick of the deen on you, now you can't prevent me. It's number 6 in the rights. I'm using that against you. And the husband, they will take sort of stand against her. Best thing is to wait and to be patient, inshallah. But it is a sinful husband who does not let his wife and give her permission to come to the prayer of the Jama'ah. Prophet ﷺ said, لا تمنعوا إماءكم المساجد. Do not prevent the women to come to the masjid. And that is the hadith being mentioned by Abdullah ibn Umar radiallahu anhuma from the Prophet. One of his sons, upon hearing, he said, Wallahi lanamna'hunna. By Allah, we're going to prevent them. He did not say this because he hates the Prophet. He didn't say this because he wants to get against the messenger of Allah, but because of what Aisha, she had said. Wallahi law arafa an-nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam ma fa'ala nisa ba'dahu lamana'ahunna. If Prophet Allah knew what the woman would have done after what he had, after his death, after he died, he would have prevented them from coming out, because it changed a lot. But here, and Aisha, she's not saying that this is, we should stop it, but she's saying that how much is the change that took place after the death of the Prophet ﷺ, where she knows, وَمَا كَانَ رَبُّكَ نَسِيًّا. Allah is not forgetful. So when he made the Sharia, and when the Prophet of Allah, he said, do not prevent women, if they want to go to the masjid, prevent them to go to the masjid, he speaks from divine, and divine does not make a mistake, and Allah knows what's going to happen, knows that the women are going to change and start putting perfume and all of that. But the Prophet of Allah, when he died, straight away, how fast it is, the women had changed. And that's why Aisha said he knew he would have just said, don't let them to go out. But of course, he will let them to go out because Allah, He is the one who commanded the Prophet of Allah sallallahu to say to the men, don't prevent your women. That means the daughters of yours, the wives of yours, if they want to go to the masjid, to come to the masjid. As long as they will go with the proper hijab and no perfume and all of this, alhamdulillah, let them. This is to learn the religion. And you will be sinful if you did prevent them from doing so. Right, now.
Also, you mustn't prevent them from visiting
her family, her mother, your in-laws. As long as
this is conditioned upon her wearing
the hijab,
wearing the Islamic dress,
like me in abaya and all of that,
and not going out and displaying her beauty. He should. Yeah, some of this English. I'm sorry, I'm just reading off the book.
Yeah. So he should as well prohibit her from.
He should. He must prevent her from going out perfumed. He also should warn her about mixing with men and shaking their hands. He'd also warn her about watching television or listening to songs.
Right. Television these days, you could use it for two things: either halal or haram. Here, when he says prevented from using the television is meant here because at this time when we made this book, there was no such thing, YouTube and all of that. Television is according to the transmitter, receiver. So that's the receiver. It receives, all these channels which are rubbish. But now you have your own. You could have your own channel which is Islamic or whatever, which is that sometimes I find it very, very educational to the children, especially if they don't have any alternative. So if you have a set channel for Islamic to teach them the Deen and the Quran, all of that, alhamdulillah. But have the control in your hands. Number 7, also from the rights of the wife or the husband is
that he not spread about her private matters.
The private matters. That means whatever comes on the bed stays in the bed. And he should not mention her defects as well, because he is the one who's trustworthy. So he should be required to protect her. And from the worst of secrets that can be disclosed are the secrets of the intimacy on the bed. The Prophet ﷺ, he had warned against it. He said, Asma bint Yazid
radiallahu anha narrated that she was with the Messenger of Allah
sallallahu alayhi wasallam,
and the men and women were sitting. Perhaps some men speak about what they do with their wives, and some women speak about what they do with their husbands.
That means the Prophet is asking us a question of, is that correct? Is that right? There are some men who speaks about what he does with his wife on the bed, and there's women speak about what she does with her husband. Is that true? So she said.
The people went silent. Asma radiallahu anha then said, yes.
Yes, by Allah. Yes, there are some men and there are some women talks about this.
The Messenger of Allah sallallahu said, do not do that. That is like a male devil who met a female devil in the street, and he had
intimacy
with her, with the people looking.
So that means on the road, people are looking, because you are exposing your secrets, and the people are listening to what you've done to your wife, or listening to the woman with their husband. A'udhu billah. Male shaitan with a female shaitan, and doing the intercourse while everybody is looking. Okay, we'll stop here, inshallah. We've got no time for questions. So number 8, number 10, all of that, inshallah, we'll continue with the rights of the wives and the rights of the husband next week. So if you have any questions, yes, okay. Sheikh Doctor? Because we didn't have a question last time. So any questions, please? If you have no question, I will go back to the book. Further.
I have a question. I don't know if
I'm pretty sure. You put your hands up.
Yeah. Life, is it we have to be same everywhere, or is it different when you live in Saudi, or when you live back home in Pakistan, or when you are here? So following Islam, is there any balancing, or is just?
You mean with the rights of the husband and the wife, that to the wife and the husband?
Yes, in a way.
Yeah. Well, Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. So the question is basically, does it differ in terms of rights and obligation on the husband and the wife when we live in a different society, like from society in the UK or society in Saudi Arabia, and so on and so forth? Yes, it differs, because Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, He says, وَلَهُنَّ مِثْلُ الَّذِي عَلَيْهِنَّ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ, and they have the same what they've been asked to do bil-ma'ruf, according to the customs, what the people expect. So the people expect differently in Saudi Arabia from the woman which is in the UK. So it differs. So her rights will be different. So for example, in terms of education wise, in terms of going out wise, in terms of dressing up wise, in terms of lots of things. So it differs. As long as the people consider this is to be reasonable. So what you're giving her, the food, and what type of clothes you're giving her, and how many times you let her to go to her in-laws, according to what is reasonable, and that's acceptable. So whatever people call not reasonable, unreasonable, that is not correct. So we would say it differs. But if you are pointing something special, please bring it out. So I could really say to you, no, it's the same. You're talking about specific right of a woman over a husband?
Like, in society,
Hang on.
like we live in a society, so much women's right here. So
I think you
how
missed
is balance it?
you missed the first part. We said yes, because of this society here, they felt so guilty, neglecting the women's right. They want to compensate for that. They overshot. They went beyond the border until we had the Batman climbing on top of the parliament, asking for the father's right. I don't know if you know that or not. Father's right, because they've been deprived from the father's right. Okay, so the women's right is not going to be as much as Islamic would give them. You think that the society here gives the women more right than what Islam gives them? It's not correct. Islam gives them more right. Islam gives them more right, but in the appropriate way. Okay, the more right. See, that's why I says I can't really answer every question. Believe me, this is because it's been streamed and all of that, and there are some people that take notes. I haven't noticed. I've been going to the websites and everything. They're detailing every single talk I'm doing about these things. SubhanAllah, I was really surprised because I've been called to go give a talk in university, and the responsible charge in the university, they sent me, "Are you the one who says these things?" And there's a link there. I just went there, and there's some people there, I don't know who pays them money to sit down and get my lectures and bring out all the things that I'm talking about, men, women, children, and they're calling it the military side of the UK or something like that, military Islam of the UK. I'm talking about myself. So these people, they don't fear Allah. They don't believe. See, they know us. We are the most, you could say, safest people to live with. Most safest people. We are. We are the people who care about our neighbors, regardless what background they have come from. I'm not talking about background in terms of race, in terms of ideologies wise. I don't care if he's a transgender. I don't care if it belongs to one of these letters, L, G, T, B, A, Q, R, S, T. I don't care about that. He's a human being. I treat him as a human being. But for me to accept what he's doing, this is not his choice. Nobody's choice. This is my choice. Just like he accepted this is for him, I don't accept that for me. And I don't want to accept it for my children. And this is my right. Freedom of speech, freedom of actions, freedom of thoughts as well. So I understand that you have the right to do what you like. You want to turn yourself into a worm, into a whatever. It's up to you, Akhi. I'm not going to really go into that. It's your right. But for me to convince me that this is right, this is something else. For me, I don't think this is correct. But I believe you have the right to do what you like because the law protects you for this. So I need to tell you, brother, wallahi, sometimes some of the questions, I'm going into a minefield. You understand what I'm saying? Minefield? I'm just waiting. Which one is going to blow up into me? Okay, so all right. Jazakallah khair.
Two questions. Two questions from the sisters, inshallah. From the forbidden marriages that were mentioned last week, and if there are children from those marriages, are there any way to restore those marriages?
Forbidden marriages we have mentioned, for example, is the nikah, which we call it nikah al-badal, or nikah al-shigar, which is you marry my daughter and I will marry your daughter. That's the condition, okay? And they will make, this is called nikah. We said we could rectify that nikah because we could just say we dismantle between the two, and the children are still children there of each one. We don't say that the children are legitimate, but there is nikah which is illegitimate. Like for example, this is void from the beginning, like this nikah of al-mula'ana, women who had been accused by her husband of fornication, and he had made the 4 testimonies that is she has done it, and then the curse of Allah upon him if he's a liar. and she has to push away the punishment from her by making 4 testimonies that she hasn't done it. And the 5th one, that the wrath of Allah is upon her if she was to be a liar. Okay, so if that happens, there will be total separation. No way they can get married to each other. So if any marriage comes after this, this is a nullified marriage. Any children produced after this is haram children, because it is not a correct marriage. So some of the marriages you can correct, some of them they can't correct. Void marriage.
What about the mother?
So let's say, for example, the wali, just remind me of something. Wali. Wali, we said, is a condition for the marriage to be valid. But let's say these people got married without wali. They're married without wali because the father did not let her to marry the one that she wants. Maybe she went to another imam and he said to her, don't worry about the wali, he's a Hanafi madhab. And she's not from the Hanafi madhab, but she turned to a Hanafi just for the sake of marrying him. Now, if they had children, we don't really say, because we call it, you see, what shubha. There's a doubt. Because there's a doubt, we can't really say to, okay, you are fornicators, all your children haram. We can't do that. Okay, so we have to rectify the situation. This is to do with family and lots of things depends upon it. Inheritance. So we have to be careful on these issues. Right. So that's how we rectify. Second question.
What is the advice for men to go to extremes with their behavior and control and use the deen as their reason to do so?
In what, can you give me an example? Because I don't know how this husband is using the deen is to basically justify what he's doing. You know, if he's breaking her bones, how can he use the deen to justify? So
it mentions control. So let's hypothetically say he doesn't let her out of the house.
Well, let me tell you something. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, "Istawsu bin-nisa'i khayra." Look after the women. فَإِنَّهُنَّ عَوَانٌ عِنْدَكُمْ. They are like slaves. And again, you see, I'm walking on my field here. Like slaves for you. Here, slaves is not the slaves that come to the mind of those people. Slave, lashing her, slave, she has got no right. Slave, no slaves in Islam. People used to wish to be a slave. Like Abu Hurairah, I wish to be a slave. Because a slave of a master, he would be like as rich as a master. He said, had it been for 3 things, my mother and the Hajj and the jihad, that means I had to take permission to make jihad, had permission to take permission to go to my mother, had permission to go to Hajj. Without my master, can't go. Had it been for the 3 things, I would have chosen to be what? A slave. Because a slave is looked after. A slave is like his master. You know, imagine a master who's got a suit, blue jacket, and white trousers. The slave will have what? The white trousers and blue jacket, meaning the vice versa. So blue jacket, white trouser. Another one will be white jacket, blue trouser. Subhanallah. So you can't distinguish the master from the what? From the slave. That's in Islam. So the woman is a slave, that means she does not go out. She's most like, and that's what the Prophet said, qawarir. Qawarir is all the time they are in the house, most of the times. Rifqan bil qawarir. So the women's position in Islam, not my words, is to be in the house. That's what because she's got a big duty. That is to bring up healthy children for the society. That's where her house is, the house. Her house is the house. And if she starts to go out and then rub shoulders with the men, that's when disaster comes. If she starts going out and the husband, she should not push her to go out. So she has the right to tell her husband, why are you pushing me to go and work? You work. You are the one, the breadwinner. You are the one who gets the money. I'm staying home, looking after your children, looking after your house. I'm the queen of the house. I am the queen. So I am the queen to look you up. But on top of my work, I had to come very early from work and then cook you the dinner on top of that. That's the slavery, which Islam doesn't accept. On top of her work, she has to cook for you as well. Subhanallah. So she's 24/7 working. And on top of that, she gets pregnant, miskina, 7 months pregnant. Top of that, lots of things she does. So the woman, she's been honored. And that's one of the women, when she embraced Islam, she said, the woman in Islam is like a jewel. She was saying this, and understood that how Islam honors the woman. Okay. So I would say the woman, she should listen to her husband and tell her that she should go out. And in Islam, listen again to me, in Islam, it's to do with against the law or with the law. In Islam, the woman, she cannot say to husband, go and get yourself a woman to go and fornicate with. I'm not going to give you the intimacy. That's not allowed in Islam. If her husband asked her for the bed, she should comply with him to go to the bed because it's his wife. You know, it's his wife. This is Islamically we're talking about, ikhwan. We're talking about what Islamically. But you know that the law is say that the woman, she can raise a rape case against her husband. That means she's being intercourse with without her consent. Okay, that has been a law has been passed. I think maybe 10, 12 years ago. I remember that law when it passed. Some of the judges didn't want that law because they come from the first generation. This is the things that are not correct because it goes against what the marriage is all about. I'm to secure myself. So I'm just saying, Islamically, there's no such thing. So the woman, she has to, you know, bear in mind there is Islamic requirement, Islamic obligation upon her. She is the one to answer to her Lord subhanahu wa ta'ala. By this, wallahu ta'ala a'lam, will you give the last question from you guys? Do you have a question?
There's another one, but I don't want to deprive the brothers.
The brothers and questions, one more rights for the women. Let's so show them. Give them more rights for the women.
Okay, last question. If someone marries a non-Muslim, e.g. Hindu, who takes the Shahada but has no visible practice of Islam at all, rather continues her life as before, is the nikah valid?
A man takes a Hindu?
If a man marries a non-Muslim,
Hindu.
for example, Hindu, who takes the Shahada,
yeah,
but has no visible practice of Islam at all, rather she continues her life as before, is the nikah valid?
You see, we cannot invalidate the nikah because simply we didn't see her that she did not practice her Islam. But this is, you see, to do with the husband who had married her. So the husband, when he married her, he chose her. He must have loved her. That's why he married her. So the love should not be on the expense of compromising Allah's rights. So when she said, La ilaha illallah Muhammadur Rasulullah, something has to change. Anything has to change. So, for example, all these things that lingering for the non-Islamic practices from the Hinduism is not supposed to be there. So there will be no idols in the house. There will be no red dot in the middle. All of these things have to be removed because they are from the customs of the Hindus. It does not go with the practice of Islam. So if she showed some of that, slowly. He's talking about the prayer. The prayer, you see, difference among the scholars is the person does not pray out of laziness, a kafir or not. That's a debatable issue, but the correct opinion, we said, it is not a kafir as long as he's lazy. He's a criminal, he's an evil doer, but he cannot be called a kafir because he does not pray if he believes in Allah Azza wa Jalla. So this slowly, this man, he has to make sure that his wife, she is, showing some of the signs of the Iman. And I don't think this question came from a brother. It came from what? From a sister. So that sister is talking about a specific case. And that specific case that she is like, want to use my answer to go and show to her brother or whatever he is, to say, look, your wife, she's a kafir. Get divorced of her. I don't say that. Okay. And I'm just saying that to the husband, be careful. She's going to bring up your children when you die. Imagine you die before her. What's going to happen? What is going to happen to your children? So that is what you say. She has a right upon you, Mr. Husband, to teach her the deen. One of the rights, remember? To teach her Islam, teach her to have to read Quran. It's upon you. Sit down with her and give her how to write the letters of alif, ba, ta, ta. You have to. That's what I did with my wife. Beginning when I married her, she has to learn the Arabic in order to start to read Quran. Because she will ask me on the day of resurrection, why didn't you teach me? Well, if you didn't teach me, at least offer me some sort of a window to go and learn from it, like online. There was no online at that time. But I'm talking anything, another sort of alternative for me to learn knowledge. She has the right upon you to teach her the deen, because you want to bring your children upon Islam. Okay, so that's what I'm just saying regarding this issue. أسأل الله سبحانه وتعالى أن يحفظنا وإياكم وأن يجعلنا ممن يقيم دين الله عز وجل. وأسأله عز وجل أن يحيينا وأن يميتنا على لا إله إلا الله. بارك الله فيكم. إن شاء الله see you next week.